So, John, would you believe one of the trending topics in TikTok is how to find inner peace? Like, can you imagine that's something that people are struggling with? And I thought about you because you're someone who I know makes an effort to, I suppose, have peace in your life. Is that correct?
Try to. Thank you for thinking of me for that.
And
Yeah.
I know that you do a lot of stuff. So, would you mind sharing, like, what is it that you actually do to find that kind of a inner peace in your life?
Oh, well, thank you again, Arvi, for, for this moment with you and, having this opportunity to just have a conversation with you about inner peace. Let's try to make this as peaceful as we can. Let's see how that'll go. But yeah, I'm a stress management therapist, general terms. And what I do really is I'm a yoga therapist. I'm a sound healer, a meditation teacher. I'm a Reiki practitioner. Also, I also teach at university. I created and authored a program that teaches university students how to meditate, how to achieve their goals, how to have emotional and financial literacy. So really just yeah, self-awareness stuff. So anywhere from, college kids all the way to working adults in various fields.
So you threw in a bunch of words that I would imagine the average corporate person would not know,
Yeah, that's true.
like
Yeah.
Reiki and
Mm.
meditate. I mean, people have heard of meditation, but I doubt that they've actually tried it. So how did you come to that with that unique package of stuff that you're into that a lot of people are probably not aware of?
Okay. Well, you and I have known each other for a very, very long time, right? And, because of the corporate world, right? And, I um thank you, by the way, because if you weren't my boss for so many years, I probably would not have as much fun or survived that part. But yeah, I've been working in corporate, mostly in the BPO space for 14 years. And then yeah, I got laid off. So in my last job, in BPO, I was there for 4 years, working night shift. And then, yeah, I got laid off. And one of the things that I started doing during that time was yoga,
Hmm.
practicing yoga. I was curious about it. A few of my friends were doing it. And then after that, during the space of, when am I going to do, right? What's my next job? When am I, waiting for employers to reply and give me a status on my application. What am I going to do? I started practicing yoga almost every day. There is where I used to live in Parañaque, so it's in the south of Manila, and then there's a studio called Treehouse Yoga.
Yeah, from our friend
Yeah,
Rafe. Yeah.
Rach, yes, Rach Bonifacio was the owner. And that's where, this was in 2016, I think, 2016, 2017. So I started practicing there every day, sometimes twice a day for maybe like at least a month. And I figured, I love it so much. I'm doing this every day. What if I can make this my job? Like, teaching this. I started exploring that. I had a conversation about Rach and about who mentored her and where she got her certification. And yeah, you could say that, the rest is history. I got certified under White Space Wellness.
From Eileen? Is that Eileen? Yeah.
Yes, Iling Tupas and Abby Rivadelo. So my yoga teacher training was under them. And then, people in the yoga circles, they were like talking about meditation. Eileen was really a meditation teacher also. And then like, I'm like, what am I talking about? And it's like curious, okay, because they seem to be related and people are doing it. And they're like, oh, right, let me try it out, right? And then they released the training for meditation teacher intensive. I took that, and then in meditation teacher training, people were doing, pulling out cards and talking about healing and doing Reiki, and I was like, what's this Reiki stuff? So I got into Reiki training, all that. So yeah, so that's how I really got my certifications. First, it was through, I would say, the physical practice, and how a lot of people um, on the spiritual path, I would say most maybe would start out by connecting to their body and then you connect to your mind, and then you find out, oh, there's this thing such as energy, right? And then the sound healing part is from, so my longtime partner Mark, he wanted to do base camp, um, um, not Mount Everest, right? So base camp in Nepal. He wanted to hike that.
Kathmandu, or yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I'm like, girl, I'm not gonna hike. This was like 14, 15 days of
Oh, wow.
hiking and everything. Like, nope, like my knees are not gonna be happy with that. So what I did instead, because I have had a couple friends who already went to Kathmandu to get certified and learn about sound healing using Tibetan singing bowls. So while he was hiking, that's what I did.
Wow.
Yeah, got certified in sound healing there. And then, came back to the Philippines, continue with and that was right before the pandemic, I would say.
Mm.
I was in Nepal. We were in Nepal, and then there was news of, the COVID breaking out in China. So we got back, and then I also just got hired for a university, and then yeah. So and then right now, what I do is I teach in university with the program that I designed, and then also sound healing at one of the wellness resorts here in the Philippines, and then a lot of private classes mostly.
So if I mean, because I've known you for so many years now, and I would imagine that when you were, running the training department of this huge BPO, I think you've told me that you go from one side to the other, and
You
then
mean boy to girl, girl to boy?
no,
No, no.
site.
Okay, okay,
Like I think you manage several sites, right? Because you
okay.
have to go
Yes,
to really
yes,
far away places, not just in Metro Manila.
yes, yeah.
And now it's like you're doing something that you like. Yeah, I can imagine you can also do it at home. So how would you compare your old life as a corporate person versus your life now as someone who is into wellness?
So let's see. Let's put it in the framework of ikigai, which is
Mm,
the Japanese practice of your reason for living, right? And there are four essentially components of ikigai, right? So I guess I'll respond to that question in terms of that framework. One is, I would say I was good at training, right? And I was good. I wouldn't have done the job for a long time
mm.
if I wasn't, right? And I'm good at what I do currently. In terms of, you know, something that pays you well, I mean, the BPO would be pay a lot more, right? And there were definitely a lot more opportunities there, travel as well. So in terms of being paid well, yeah, definitely. Right now, I have no complaints as well. In terms of what's the other component? Something that you love,
Mm.
right? I would say that, the reason really that if I hadn't got laid off in my last BPO work, like I would probably still be stuck there being stubborn because admittedly, like my heart wasn't in it anymore. And for the last few years of being employed, like my heart again wasn't in it. Like you feel like you drag yourself to work. You feel like you ask yourself several questions. Oh, what if I apply here? What if I apply? And just because you're still in the bubble of my world is BPO and that's all I know what to do, right? So yeah, so definitely answering the question, something that you love, that was kind of fading away. But right now, I definitely love what I do. I love seeing my students and my clients just light up or react or even cry or express themselves after a session that I led, and them coming up to me and saying that, oh my god, I needed that, or right, and how it's really how they felt. um and then the other component is what the world needs.
Yeah, the world needs.
Yeah, what the
Mm.
world needs. And that's, I think, one of the really questions that, when you're working in corporate for BPO, at least for me, and then I would say, and this is not for everyone, right? I'm not generalizing, but at least with my scope, is like I tend to ask that question: is how is this work maybe contributing? And maybe that was what was causing the lack of love or heart in what I do. But now I realize that again, I've been a wellness practitioner since 2017 officially until the present, and um, yeah, it's about working also towards what the world needs, and maybe what the world needs is someone just being able to hold space. I call it holding space for another human being. And a lot of people, right, these days feel, regardless of the age, they tend to feel judged. They tend to feel like they're not heard. They're stressed and they don't know what to do to get out of that. I'm stressed, or not even knowing, how to deal with stress properly, and not feeling empowered that yes, I can manage stress, right? And yeah, that I feel that that's again my ikigai. I always tell my students that you don't. I only found my ikigai again after all these things that have happened to me: failing at a job, losing a job, right? Even getting fired from a job, failing at a relationship, right? And not getting accepted at jobs, right? Losing money and all that. And really that's when, you start to find yourself. And I'm just fortunate that, I'm also surrounded by people who support me, right? Present company included. I know I've come to you for, for times for advice. Yeah, and being loved and supported by people, and that helps me also give to my guests, my clients, my students.
Oh,
Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. So I read somewhere that, some people are stressed not because of what they're doing, but more because of what they're not doing. Meaning they had a purpose in life that they're not living, that they're not really doing. And which brings us to the topic of what is your purpose, like based on how you would articulate it now, like what would you say is your purpose for the next X number of years?
I would say being able to hold space for people so that they can shift their perspective or shift their paradigms. You know, I'm not there to tell people this is what you should be,
Yeah.
what you should do, who you are, this is who you are. But, um, you want to listen, if you're ready, I'm here for you. And okay, what are you dealing with right now? And are you open to this? Yeah.
Like outside of, I would imagine outside of the wellness circles or outside of the meditation circles, people don't really know what hold space means. It's
Mm-hmm.
not part of, regular vocabulary.
Right.
Like for the benefit of people who have never heard of it, like when you say hold space, what does that mean?
It's shortcut. It is guiding someone, being present for another human being to allow them to discover who they really are. And it's not you implementing that, or not you, it's not even advising. It's not advising, it's not, judging or prescribing, but just being present, the act of being present for another human being so that they themselves can discover who they want to be, and who they can be. So it's kind of like yeah, I would say it's guiding in a non-judgmental
Yeah,
manner,
yeah.
and just allowing the other human being to be. So, I mean, like science calls it co-regulation, right? How it's important for another human being to help help him or her grow. You need to co-regulate, you need to communicate, you need to interact with another human being. It's just that sometimes the other human being that you interact with might tend to, this is what you should do,
Yeah.
right? Oh, don't do that. Oh, you're gross, you're weird. Or, what younger generation now will say, right? Give you trauma, right? And give you bad experiences, right? And that can hinder you from, again, give you negative ideas. Yeah.
You know that Chinese guy who's that emotional damage. Have you heard of that guy? Like that Chinese guy who says that.
Then the actor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, like I guess advice. What's your advice? Here a while ago you were saying you're not supposed to give advice, but for people who are stressed, for people who don't know where to begin, for people who are stuck in the rat race, for people who are not exploring maybe their unexpressed side, or people are not listening to what their calling is, like how do they even begin to find that inner voice and respond to it?
Um, well, one is try to understand what stress is, right? Really, stress is a biological, it's a biological thing that we have it. Every human being has it because it's helpful. It was placed there. We all have it so that we can survive. So one is have an understanding of what the stress response is, and watch Dr. Kelly McGonigal's YouTube, How to Make Stress Your Friend. It's an old TED talk, but so many insights from there. And really, she talks about what stress is, what happens to your body, and how people view stress. And the title is How to Make Stress
Your
Your
friend.
Friend. Yeah, and I love the way that she presented it. It's one of the videos that we had to watch during our meditation teacher training. So yeah, something I share with my students also. And then yeah, I would say also so many things, right? Move your body, connect to your body. I have clients who, when I have a conversation with them, they're stressed because um, they they're disconnected from their physical body. So, just a moment of stillness, listening to your breath, that can help you connect to your body. Um, Walking, the simple act of walking, the simple act of caring for your body and just checking in on your physicality, literally how your body feels. Um, that can connect you to something tangible. Because these days people always say, oh, I'm so stressed, I don't want to do that, or this is stressful, or you know what, you're so stressful, he's stressful, I'm so stressed right now, and everything is therefore tagged as stressful. I would say also have the emotional literacy to label exactly what you're feeling. So again, one of the things that we first go through with my students is the practice of understanding why emotions happen and making sure that you know how to label it. Because if you can't label what you're feeling, you won't be able to manage it, right? So check out Plutchik's Model of Emotions by Dr. Robert Plutchik. That's also on the web. He has a really nice website that explains emotions. Yeah, so connect to your body, label your emotions, understand what stress is about so that you can befriend it. Yeah, and then seek someone whom you trust, really important, right? Have conversations with someone whom you're comfortable with and whom you trust. And yeah, try out different practices, different things on your spiritual journey, because I think again, people who ask the question, how do I arrive at my inner peace or inner peace, right? Inner peace, like the Kung Fu Panda, right? Inner peace, 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 right? Is you're already starting. You want to get into that spiritual journey, or you already started. So yeah, do spiritual practices as well, and yoga can be spiritual.
Meditation is definitely spiritual.
Meditation, right? Or doing what you love, like painting, walking, forest bathing is spiritual. Yeah. So, and if you are religious, that can be spiritual too, right? So I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying be religious. I'm saying be spiritual. I have nothing against religion as well, right? But people tend to associate the two as the same thing, which they're not. So I'm sorry, did that answer your question?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
cool.
said so much.
So why don't you put up your own TikTok channel where you share this kind
No,
of wisdom.
no, you always have to lead it with me, Arvin. No, I will not have.
No, but anyway, thank you for giving the. I got a lot from what you said. Like I have some resources to check out, and some lived experiences that you shared with the group. So thank you so much for doing this. And for those of you who are watching, if you have any questions, feel free to type on the comments, and we'll try to see how to get your questions answered. So thank you very much, Joy.
Thank you so much.